Greetings to all. Here we have a roof which we need to do. Now, let us look at the marks for the roof. It's 11 marks. Now, if you look at this 11 marks, is more than anything else that you see here. So it is important that this roof mark is done properly and correctly. Now, in an exam situation, this is how the marks are allocated. Looking at the roof angle, you're getting 1 mark. The roof cover, you're getting 1 mark. A purlin, if it's a purlin, 1 mark, or it could be a batten. The purlin spacing, it's 1 mark. The truss is 2 marks. Fascia board, 1 mark. Wall plate, 1 mark. Brennering, 1 mark. Ceiling board, 1 mark. Barge board, 1 mark. So that's how you receive your 11 marks. So it's important that we do this thing properly. Now, firstly, number 1, I have a wall plate. Right. Now, I have done this in an order that will help you do your roof properly and quickly. Right. Now, the wall plate is 114 by 38. Of course, the scale that we are using in this drawing should be 1:20. Now, number 2, we have a roof angle or a roof pitch. Sometimes they give it to you as 20 degrees, or they will give it to you as 30 degrees, or even 25. Whatever degrees that you get, then you shall be using that as a roof pitch or a roof angle. Remember, there's a mark for that. Okay. The overhang or eaves should not exceed 600, and it must not be less than 500. Of course, it should be given to you from your floor plan. Then we have the rafter. Now, rafter is also 114. The rafter is one that will sit on your wall plate at that corner there. All right. Now we have a purlin. Now, purlin is 75 by 38. This X means that I am hatching that. So it's important that you take note of that. Then, if it's not a purlin, it may be a batten. Now, a batten needs to be 38 by 38. Now, when do we use this one here? This is used when we have a concrete tiles as a roof cover. This is used when we have an IBR roof cover. Now, then we move on to the fascia board. Fascia board will be 200 by 18. All right. Now, remember, this can be drawn as a single line also. All right. Then we move on to the roof cover. Whatever roof cover they give you, then you put that roof cover. Roof cover can either be a single line or a double line, depending on the scale or what they give you as a roof cover. Then we move on to what we call a gutter. A gutter that is used in most cases on our questions is a square gutter, which is 100 by 100. Then we will have a tie beam, which will give us 114. Of course, that will be divided by the scale. Then we have the bracing. Bracing can either be a king post or a queen post or a simple strut. It will depend on how far or where the cutting plane is placed. Then we go to the ceiling board. Ceiling board is always a single line. Then we move on to the brennering. Brennering is 38 by 38. Now, if you compare these, your brennering and your wall plate is 38, and that is 38. So the space between the brennering and the ceiling board will be the same in terms of putting that there, the wall plate. Then, if it's required, then we put in the barge board, which they shall give you the dimensions of the barge board. And if it's required, then we do a down pipe. As you see here, there's nothing that talks about the down pipe. If there is a down pipe, it should be diameter 70. Now you're going to divide the diameter by the scale, of course. Then we do what we call a beam filling. Therefore, I shall be taking you through these steps as to how do you get the roof detail done quickly with regards to what I have here. Now, let us begin. Firstly, this is your corner right there. So what I'll do is I construct a light line. Now, from there, if I divide 38 by 20, how much am I getting? I am getting 2. So I'm going to measure 2 millimeters from here. It's 2 millimeters, and that's 2 millimeters. Then what I do is I then draw a construction line, horizontal line. Now what do you notice here? Immediately I'm getting a ceiling board. Immediately I'm getting started with my tie beam. So all this that I have here is now happening as quickly as possible. Now coming into the wall plate, which is what we are doing. If we divide 114 by 20, which is our scale, you will end up getting about 5.7. Then roughly that becomes 6 millimeters when we round off. But check here, if I place my 5 millimeters there, it means this is 5. So we can have a wall plate flushing with the wall, or even draw it the way it has been giving us the answer, which is 6 millimeters. So this now becomes my wall plate. This is where the wall plate will end. Okay, so all I have to do now is to complete my wall plate. That's my wall plate complete. What I can do now, because I know I will end here, I will just draw this line dark, and I'll draw the top line dark. Okay, like I said, I have my ceiling board already, single line. Now I'm starting my tie beam. Now, the roof angle, which is number 2, it can be 20 degrees or 30 degrees, whatever they give you. For in this case, let us choose to use a 30 degree set square. Now, the roof angle must be on that corner. Basically, what is it that we're doing? We're now on number 4. We're doing the rafter. Now, place it on that corner. It's important that we know that where we place it. Then let's draw a light line. So now my rafter is sitting on that corner. That's where I get my angle of how much? Of 30 degrees. So now we need now to get our distance, which is 114, which we said was 6 millimeters. So I'm going to measure 6 millimeters in order to get my rafter. So that will be 6 millimeters. Then at the moment I need to draw this light. I need to draw that light. Now that is my 6 millimeters done. So now I have the rafter, but now I haven't done number 3, which is my overhang or eaves. So we say that it should not be less than 500 or not less than or not more than 600. I will then assume, let us use 500, which should give us 25. So if we're going to measure 25, so that's where 25 will be if we divide 500 by 20, which is our scale that we were given. So 500, when you divide it by 20, you're getting about 25, right? So now this is where it should end, on that point there. So now I'm going to draw a vertical line. So it means that my distance for my overhang. So I can now draw this rafter dark. Now I can draw the rafter dark up to there. All right. Now the bottom line, this one here, can be drawn dark. It goes up to the wall plate. Because we're having a wall there, so I'm going to skip that. Then I'm going to draw dark up to there. Please note, I haven't drawn anything there. Why? Because I have a wall there. All right. So this is now my rafter complete. All right. So I have done 1. I've done 2, I just did 3, I've done 4. Now we're going to number 5. Now pellin or batten. Let's assume that we're using a pellin. Now a pellin, if this is 30 degrees, it means whatever I place here must be 90 degrees, which is why I'm using a 60 degree set square. So let's assume we're starting there. Now, what is the size of this? This is 38, so this will now become 2 millimeters, right? That is 2 millimeters at 30 degrees, right? Now, what is 75 divided by your the scale of 20 millimeters, 75. When you divide that, you're getting around 3.75. And then when you get 3.75, it means you must now round off into how much? Into 4. So I shall be doing that and rounding off to 4 millimeters. So this is now my 4. That's 4 millimeters. So I now draw a light line. So what is happening here? When I'm drawing this light line, I am actually getting my roof cover when I draw the light line. Okay, so now I need to complete, let us complete our pattern and make it. Now we have the first pattern completed. Now remember, there is what we call pattern spacing, which will be given from on your question. Now that should not be more than 1,200. So let's assume that they gave you 1,200. Then you need to divide that by a scale which you get about 60. That 1,200 is from center to center. So I'm going to assume that I'm using 1,200, which then this is my 60. So I'm going to have a center there. Right. Now that center means that I must draw another pattern, which I'll then draw another the second pattern. Now that we have our 3 pattern with the spacing equal, then it means the roof cover will be sitting on this on these pellets here, and it shall be drawn as a single line. Please take note, my roof cover is more than my rafter. All right, so we are on this position here. Now move on onto our fascia board. How much is fascia board? 200. So the 200 by a scale of 20, we're getting about 10 millimeters. So then it means here I have already have a vertical line. So if that is 200, then which is then 10, this here is about 2 millimeters, because it will give me 1.8. Then I shall measure about 2 millimeters. Remember, it can also be drawn as a single line. So this is about my 2 millimeters. Then I draw a vertical line. Remember, your fascia board is attached to the wall, rather to the rafter. So that is why I'm making that dark. Right, then I measure 10 millimeters going down. Right, so you then complete your fascia board. Fascia board completed. That was number 7. Remember number 6, we did that as a roof cover. Now we're going to number 8, which is our gutter. 100 by 100 divided by a scale, we're getting 5 millimeters. So now 5, I would have measured 5. There's my center, then 2.5, 2.5 on both sides. Then I draw my gutter, which is a square gutter. That's done, and that's done. So I will then now measure how much? 5 millimeters. So this then becomes my gutter. So that's my gutter. Remember, the gutter can be closed on the top, or it can be open. If you notice here, it's open on the top. It can be a closed gutter. It doesn't matter. That is still correct. Now that's what you need to do. Now let us move on to our tie beam. Remember, we've already started our tie beam here. So how much will be your tie beam? It's 114, which gives you 6 millimeters. So now I can simply measure 6 millimeters here. Then I know that I will complete my tie beam. Tie beam starts from the rafter right there. Now there's your tie beam done. Next thing is your ceiling board, already done. Check. Now brennering is 38 by 38, which is how much? Which is about 2 millimeters. So in doing the brennering, you can start anywhere around this position near your wall plate. And remember, brennering also need to be equally spaced. They will give you the dimensions on how to space them apart. So I will start with the first one somewhere there. All right. Now our renderings done, but what I think we skipped was our bracing. Now when we brace, it means that there must be something supporting the structure here, which is that. Now remember, bracing is 114, so it should be 6 millimeters. So I shall draw that 6 millimeter bracing over there. Right. Then I have completed the bracing. So now remember, we have truss 2 marks because of 1, 2, 3 things, including the overhang or an eave. That's how you get 1, 2, 3, 4. Divided by 2, you get 2 marks. Now, let us move on into our barge board. If it's required that you draw the barge board, you will need to draw the barge board right there. If it's required that you draw the down pipe, then you shall draw the down pipe. Now, the barge board should exceed this area here, should be somewhere around there. Now, let us assume your barge board will stop here. Let us just assume that it will stop there. Then I have that light line over there. Now, the barge board should be sitting above your roof cover, about 1 millimeter on the roof cover. So this is how I show my barge board. Now you see that now I have a double line. All right. Now remember, this here comes at an angle. This is the end of my roof cover. All right. Now starting my barge board, this is my barge board. Assuming that your barge board ends there, which you shall be given dimensions, that's where it ends. Then your barge board comes this way. It then comes and it covers that way. Now that is your barge board. Now in this case here, we are not asked to do the down pipe. There's nothing about a down pipe, which I'll of course show you. Now let's go to the beam filling. Now why is it important to do the beam filling last is that the beam filling, this line here of the wall comes in and it touches the rafter. That's why it stops. Then you construct this one here light. Others will move this up to that position, or you move it up, that's fine. Then on your rafter you draw a horizontal line, and this is how we show our beam filling. Therefore this will be complete. Of course you will need to hedge the walls, showing that it is a common brick. We hedging in pairs. Done that, and this is where we say your roof, according to this question, it's now complete. Although from this question they don't ask for a down pipe, so what I will just do is let me show you how to draw the down pipe. So this comes down, diameter 70 millimeters. That also comes down. Now on the question they will give you the distance over there. Then let's assume that the angle here is 30 degrees coming to the wall. So assuming that this is where your 30 degrees will be turning, so it comes to the wall with the light line. Then since this is 30 degrees, therefore this angle here should be about 60 degrees. So to get this done correctly. So that being the case, so it means that is how you're going to draw an angle there, then another 60 here to make it turn correctly. There, maybe that's too far. Then assume that it is turning here. Then that's where it's going to turn. So now we need to draw vertical lines, which means now your down pipe is going down, meaning that your down pipe is now going down. So we're going to make this dark to make sure that our down pipe is nice and clear. This is our down pipe. That's your down pipe, and that's your down pipe over there. That's your down pipe there, and that's how it turns. It goes towards the wall. Then this here will come down this here will go down, of course. All right. So now the last part of our downpipe, it's when we construct it coming down, making it dark, and making this part here dark also. Right? So this part here is our gully, right? Therefore, we need to make sure that we put the shoe on the downpipe, and this is our shoe now that will lead towards the gully. That's our shoe that we need to put on our downpipe, and this is now completed, and this is how we draw the roof, finishing it with the downpipe. Thank you for watching.